Along these mountains,
We are blessed to have this here.
among the colorful wildflowers,
It's still untouched, and that's the way we want to keep it.
sits the Castner Range.
Walking these mountains, these trails, it's part of my upbringing, and one of the things that ties me a lot to these mountains is my father. My father loved to go out and hike.
Moses Borjas is a pastor in El Paso, Texas, a growing city right next to the Castner Range. And it's that growth adding urgency here for the Castner Range to be named a national monument.
This is a unique area in all the world. You know, the mountains here have exposed strata that you don't find anywhere else in the world. You've got flora and fauna that are endangered. You've got an area within a large city that is an oasis of peace.
Janae Renaud Field is with the local nonprofit Frontera Land Alliance,
The community started this effort 51 years ago.
one of the organizations pushing to create the Castner Range National Monument.
We looked into what the Antiquities Act of 1906 was. It was evident that this is a perfect fit.
The Antiquities Act of 1906 allows the president to designate national monuments with no action needed from Congress. Aside from the Castner Range, advocates are asking the Biden administration to also consider other potential sites, including the area around Spirit Mountain in Nevada, Camp Hale in Colorado, Range of Light in California, and the birthplace of rivers in West Virginia, among others. But just as presidents can name national monuments, another president can undo them, as President Trump did when he slashed the Bears' Ears and Grand Staircase monuments in Utah, only to have President Biden come in later and restore them.
Does that concern you, that it's not a permanent designation, that any new administration could come in and say, you know what, we changed our minds?
They could, but we have substantial, solid documentation showing the historical and cultural significance.
We even have sites that have rock art on them. So it was a very permanent, important location for indigenous people.
But at the Castner Range, there's an additional challenge.
It is owned by the Department of Defense. It used to be a firing range from the early 20s to about 1966.
And left behind are unexploded ordnances, buried in this landscape.
The big question will be, how extensive is that cleanup going to need to be? It is going to have some mitigation work done on it. But we can proceed by designating it a national monument so that it is protected.
For nearby El Paso residents,
So that's Castner Range to the north.
it also comes down to equitable access to outdoor spaces in a community that is more than 80% Hispanic.
It's so different, and it's awesome being able to just go out and explore, especially as a Latina. Opportunities like this don't arise, I think, for Hispanics or Latinas in general.
It's a privilege to be able to walk through this land.
Yes, and be able to protect it not just for me, but for future generations as well.
A protection they hope won't take generations more to achieve. In El Paso, Texas, I'm Maya Rodriguez.
The push to make a traditional Mexican sport more inclusive. You're watching The Race.